Callum took the hat off. Look at you now. Because they're fucking tasteless, that's why. Hi, welcome back. So today's episode is them talking about 2017, and it's going to be really interesting because no music from them actually came out this year, so it's going to be interesting to know about The Break, because the last thing they had released was Girls Talk Boys in 2016. Then obviously Youngblood came out in 2018, so it's going to be really interesting to see what they were doing during this year-long break. Yeah, as always, before we get into it, make sure you like, subscribe, comment, follow socials, turn notification bell on, and let's get into Five Stars talking about 2017. I just love how they started everything with Red Desert.
We'll be back after we play Miles Davis. Some kind of
I mean,
Why is this
2017
voice so
was the year we just hustled on writing.
Yeah.
I think we were like frustrated on the style of song we were writing. I was personally, and I didn't understand how people could write consistent pop songs. Like, just was like such a mind-blowing thing that people could have more consistency with their songwriting. So I feel like 2017 for me personally, and you know, when we all wrote together, it was like, how do I learn more about pop music, and how do I, you know, get involved in like
I don't know, man.
Other people that we admired, like Andrew Watt and Rami Yacoub and people like that. How do we write songs like these people, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Because the pop punk thing had really hurt us on the last record. We knew it was a success, but we didn't have any like successful singles to some extent.
Yep.
That's
So
not
we
your
were
fault.
frustrated. In 2017, I just remember a lot about, well, what do we do different instead of running around in the same loops, you know? So it was a lot of questioning our music and a lot
Callum
of
took the hat off.
trying to rebuild
Did he put it back on?
Sonic, and like, how do you
But it's not your fault.
keep moving now, and how
Basically,
do we grow the
the
band up
singles
a little
from
bit?
Sounds Good Feels Good were ahead of their time.
Yeah, that's what I thought about
Ahead of their
a lot
time.
in 2017.
Yeah, I agree.
She's kinda
learning how
hot.
to write in
Hey
a
everybody.
more
Jet Black
more
Heart.
pop way, I suppose, and just like really, that was
Ahead
really
of
the
their
whole
time.
I mean, these shows here, like this is what, less than a month of touring, so it's not even. They were awesome shows, and we tried to do some festivals, which is really rad. It's our first time playing proper festivals, but the rest of the time was literally just writing, and like, I feel like we internally knew that the band needed to change in some capacity, and I think we went through a lot of different genres to get there, or like a lot of different influences. We knew we wanted it to be something more, because the whole point of the band when we started was we wanted to be like a people's band and like have as many people as possible listen to us, and how do we continue with where we came from, but also grow to another songwriting level, and I don't know, use those tools to, I don't know.
Yeah, and at this point in time, we had a lot of trouble getting in rooms with writers. I remember, like, we would request to write with people who'd be like, "Oh no, we don't do that. We don't do the pop punk thing." Like,
Yeah.
and we're like, we don't want to do pop punk. We want to write pop rock.
Yeah.
We want to write songs that are like, you know, accessible to people, but with influence. And then we discovered, you know, and a lot of punk bands end up saying this, but you dive into the new wave stuff, you know, and we were like, okay, what's the gradual progression of a punk rock band into a pop band? And then you start to discover bands like Blondie and like, you know,
Sorry,
go back
zoom in
time
on
and
his
start to
face.
study how garage bands turn into having pop hits.
Yeah.
And that for 2017 was all about like studying and how the hell do we do this now, and how do we make this, how do we create more longevity by staying true to our roots, but writing, you know, more high quality songs.
And we did a lot of 2017 with like no real support system. You know, it was
Not at
kind
all.
of just the four of us kind of figuring out what to do on our own, and you know, like a lot of people had taken a step back at that point from our
Mhm.
projects, and it was kind of, you know, you'd sort of look at it and be like, okay, like what do we know how to do? And we're like, we know how to write songs, and we know how to, you know, play live and stuff, so let's just focus on that, and hopefully the rest of everything else falls into place. And yeah.
Yeah, it was a pretty scary year because, you know, it was like, you know, we have to redevelop the band on our own. Um,
I mean, for real, you had to actually
start again. You know?
revamp the whole band again. That's what it felt like to us anyway, because like you said, there was way less of a support system around us. So it was like, okay,
Yeah.
well, no one. You've quickly realized that once something doesn't go the way that music business people think it should have gone, then you realize, oh, okay, then it's just up to us to make the band awesome.
Yeah, so now we had like a vengeance attitude that was like, well, we need to write a hit song, because otherwise we're fucked, you know? And that was the reality of our existence then. Because it's like, how do you keep this thing going if we had a hit song 4 years ago? What do we do?
Mm-hmm.
How do we come out of this, you know? Because we wanted to keep having success, but in a truthful way. So it was like 2017 was a massive, like an artist development year, I guess.
Yeah.
It was exploring visuals and references and music and enjoying, like, we were living in LA now, and it was enjoying, like, socializing with other writers and people that did similar things to us. And
Yeah, we never really had a personal life
We never had-
until this year.
yeah,
Yeah.
until 2017, we hadn't had, like, music community, really. And we didn't really have any other people in our lives that were, like, you know, pursuing music with their whole being, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it was cool. It was like, okay, we'll get out there and find people that can help. And
Should have gone
help
for Little
make
Mix.
sense of it, you know?
Just kept writing until we
Because you know of
Yeah.
each other's
could not
existence.
anymore.
And I need a Little Mix
Yeah, we
and
tried
Vices
everything.
song.
We tried
I need a
every
Little Mix and
genre.
Vices
Yeah,
collab.
you guys flew over to Sweden
Yeah.
and did like
Couple times, eh?
yeah.
Yeah, Luke and I did a trip to Sweden because we were like, and that really blew our minds open with melody
Mm-hmm.
and learning about melody as a separate thing from instrumentation and track and music, and not just coming up with something that you feel rather than, you know, now we kind of understood, well, we can always come up with a melody that's best for a piece of music now you're not just stumbling in the dark anymore and
Mhm.
like waiting for something for inspiration to strike. You could go in every day and write something that was hooky as shit rather than like you know,
Yeah.
waiting for inspiration to strike, which was a really useful tool for us, and we've used that ever since, you know, in our writing. But this year was cool too. In 2017, we kind of went to a bunch of places we'd never been to before. We went to Peru, and we went to Brazil, and we ended up playing Rock in Rio.
Which was fucking amazing.
Rock'n'Rio was rad.
Yeah, it was kind of like a live highlight of our whole career because we were pretty out of our depth with our catalog. We only had one, like, big song in our career, and we're playing
Shut up.
in between Pet Shop Boys, and it was Lady Gaga and Maroon 5, and it's like, well, damn.
Yeah,
Well, you know,
artists who had been doing that for like
Yeah.
ever.
We only had one
And,
hit song. Ashton, I
it's
will
not fully an English
fly over to
speaking
you,
country either, so when
smack you in
have
the
songs
face.
that
How
do
dare
well,
you
it's
say
like
you only have one hit
easy
song?
that, you know, you can play them and everybody knows them because they're hits, but we only had one hit, so we're getting out there in front of
If he says they only had one hit one more time, I swear to
giving
God.
it our all.
Yeah.
And
I swear
it turned out we made a great impact with our live show in Brazil when we did that, and it was like the start of something really
Start of
special for us in
something
that country.
new.
But that was a great test. And it was probably the most powerful gig we've ever played.
Sorry, that was not needed.
Guitar battle lived on.
The guitar battle got memorialized with that video. I stuck around in Rio for about 2 weeks
Mm-hmm.
after Rockin' Rio. Yeah,
Oh.
it's awesome. I like
Wow.
hopped around to different places. It was like went to a hotel in like Copacabana Beach. Awesome,
Wow.
Nice.
amazing.
Wow.
Fucking awesome.
But in 2017, towards the end, one of the last two songs we wrote, one was "Lie to Me" and the other one was "Young Blood." And we wrote that in down by the Beverly Center in
Yeah.
was it East West Studios? No.
They
Where
wrote
was
"Lie
that?
to Me" and
West-
"Youngblood" at the same
Oh,
time.
Westlake, yeah,
Something like that.
yeah.
Especially when
So
you know
we've
what
written that,
Youngblood's
and
about.
then,
No, not Youngblood. Lie to Me.
I mean, it's hard not to go into the next year right now.
Yeah.
No, Lie to Me.
So we walked in. Andrew Watt's late. Ali Tamposi's sitting there, and I said, "Well, Andrew would probably just do something like this, right?" And he does the thing on, you know,
Yeah, thirds.
the thirds. And Ali instantly starts vibing. I'm like, great job, Ash. Like, you nailed this. And we started to write that song, and it came together pretty quick. But we had already had a couple melodies or two from another session, and for some weird reason, the song was in the same key, I guess. So it reminded me that existed, and it ended up being a chorus, and we were kind of hodgepodging all these different ideas from the past and present together in this one song. And I remember we were trying to get the tempo of, who was Fetty Wap, My Way. And I was like, if
Ashton
I
has a
said to
great voice for
Andrew when he got there, I'm
podcasts.
like, if
Like,
the tempo,
he's got the voice for
if
podcasts.
the guitar did something that grooves like a hip hop song, this would be really cool. And he goes, well, yeah, Andy Summers would do something like this, which turned out being like a major cornerstone of like our musical identity. But that session only went for 3.5 hours.
Yeah, a lot of those. I remember at that time, because of Ash, I was listening to so much, like, because we were in that new wave world, trying to like figure out how do we remain like truthful to what we want to do, and like we're a band, but we want to be in this space, more so like in a pop, I guess, space, or just more, whatever the word is, and listening to a lot of like Depeche Mode and Tears for Fears and Michael Jackson and all those grooves that are, that's kind of where that song was definitely influenced from. So and then like when you I listened to the album the other day, and it's such an odd, awesome collection of songs, because it's written over such a expansive amount of time with lots of different people,
which we were like incredibly frustrated with.
Yeah.
Like, this was a hard album to put together.
Yeah. And it was scary. It's been a long time since we put out an album.
Yeah. And our record label in the UK, they didn't like Youngblood.
Yeah.
Didn't want to release it as a single.
Because they're
which was
fucking
really,
tasteless, that's why.
like, pretty mind-blowing to us. We're like, well, shit. And we ended up going with Want You Back first,
Fair enough.
which was a crazy vibe, which is next year. Yeah.
2017
But honestly,
was-
I don't have a lot of fond memories about 2017. It was like just giving us
How can you not like Youngblood?
It really was.
It wasn't like a
Fucking
super
tasteless.
happy time. It was like the band is on a downward trajectory. What do we do? Which is a terrifying place to be. It's like,
Yeah, especially when you feel a little bit abandoned by, or like people in your team have taken a step back.
yeah,
You know, that's scary. And
yeah.
you haven't had an album in a minute, and everyone told you that album didn't do very well. You better do something quick.
Yep.
You
Oh
better
my
figure it
god,
out.
the lack
yeah,
of
and
faith.
what this year really built up was mental resistance towards the whole business in general. It's like,
Yeah.
The
well, I can't
actual
be
lack of
attached to
faith.
any of these outcomes because it's too up and down. Like, and I can't continue being a free-flowing artist with with people like coming and going and teams building and eroding and songs doing
Kids,
well and
press
songs
right
doing
now.
terribly, and it's like you just can't live and die by it, you know. So I feel like I learned personally a lot this year in 2017 about sticking to like my intuition and going, no, it is that way, although no one supports it.
Ash's way.
Yeah.
Ash's way on the highway. His way. His way on the highway. I have some thoughts about the UK label, the UK team. I have some thoughts.
Why do you have a shotgun?
I just want to talk to him.
Dad, this is ridiculous.
I just want
Put
to talk
that
to him.
gun
I
away.
just want to talk to him.
What
I
are you
just want to
doing?
talk
It
to
is
him.
not his
I
fault.
just want to
It was
shoot
an
him. I
accident.
just want to
You
talk to him.
can't shoot him.
Yeah, those are my thoughts. The absolute lack of faith from the label is actually such a piss take because, well, first of all their albums, like, have you, like, the amount of streams they have, and it's like, have you even heard the record? Any of the records are just like, sounds good, feels good. I have nothing bad to say about that album. I mean, it was ahead of its time. I'm just gonna put that out there. It was ahead of its time. But I am glad that they took that year break because that's how we got Youngblood, and you can like hear how replenished and refreshed their vocals are. And like mine keeps coming like this. But that was very interesting. Yeah. And I will got bones to pick with Ashton by saying that they've only got one hit. They only had one hit at that time, apparently. I've got bones to pick with you, drummer boy. But we'll save that for what I asked. For if I ever meet you guys, I'm gonna yell at you for going, why the fuck did you say you only had one hit by after 2 albums? So that's what we're not gonna do. We are not going to put ourselves down, because that's only allowed for me. Only I'm allowed to put myself down. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, follow socials, turn notification bell on. And I'll see you next time. I'm off to go stream Sounds Good Feels Good, aka the album that basically no one had faith in when it was out.